Hey, Bob Price here. Yesterday I was in a metaphysical store in Encinitas and I bought this stone that called out to me there called Shattuckite. It was a huge store. I'll talk about that more in a minute here, but I wanted to show it to you, and this will be a video about it, Shattuckite. So one of the main properties of Shattuckite is that it will enhance your clarity of your communication. So if you combine this stone with the moonstone, which is helpful to help you to bring in your intuition, this is like if you have a radio and you have that sound, this stone will help to take out the stone and make the message that you get from your guides clearer. It's said to enhance the communication from the 3D world through the ether. The ether, is it ether or ether? I'm not sure, but it's like that. It's the ether word. And that's the layer where the guides are just past. So that's why we try to raise our frequency up to a higher level, and that's what that's all about. Hey, Bob Price here. This is the long version of the Shattuckite stone that I talked about on the short. Recently, I was in one of my favorite metaphysical stores, SoulScape in Encinitas, California. It's a huge store, almost the size of an Apple store, if you can believe it, with crystals, tarot cards, statues, mystical bells, sound bowls, and all kinds of fascinating things. You could spend all day looking in there. So while I was there, I saw this absolutely stunning piece of pink tourmaline. Tourmaline is usually a black stone from my experience, but I didn't realize it comes in other colors. And it was mostly white with beautiful pink tourmaline running through it. But strangely enough, that wasn't the stone that I brought home. That tourmaline, pink tourmaline, was beautiful, but I was appreciating the beauty, but it wasn't calling to me to bring it home. As I continued looking through all the crystals, another stone seemed to call out to me. It was Shattuckite. Have you ever wondered if you were drawn to a stone for a reason? Sometimes I think we choose crystals because we also know about its properties, but sometimes it happens in reverse. You see a stone, and sometimes it catches your attention, so you bring it home. Maybe it's the colors that you like, or maybe you like the way that it reflects the light. There's just something about it, or maybe you just feel intuitively, hey, I need this for some reason, but you don't know why. That's what happened to me with the Shattuckite. Now, I've never even heard of this stone before, let alone getting drawn to bring it home, but that's what happened. It has a beautiful mixture of blues and greens and turquoise and earthly colors all mixed in. When I saw it, it reminded me somewhat of labradorite, which is another stone I really love. I didn't know very much about the Shattuckite. I just knew I was drawn to it, so I brought it home. They gave it to me in this pretty mesh bag, and I put it in my pocket. And then I started learning about it. What is it? Well, the first thing we're going to talk about is moonstone and Shattuckite. One of the things I find especially interesting about Shattuckite is the way I see it working as a companion stone to the moonstone. Moonstone is often associated with metaphysical traditions, with intuition, inner awareness, and becoming more receptive to subtle information. My mentor, Najia, has taught me a great deal about developing intuition and learning to listen to my intuition beyond the surface of things. She has an excellent video on the Moonstone that I'm going to put a link in the description of this video. She's an excellent teacher, and she also has videos on many other of my favorite crystals, including labradorite. But as I was learning about Shattuckite, I came with this analogy that really helped me understand between the two stones. Imagine your intuition is like a radio. Moonstone helps you tune in to the station. It helps you become receptive to the signal. But if you remember old radios, you know what happens when you're trying to tune into a station. You hear a voice, but you also hear static. Sometimes you'll hear static. You can, but you just can't quite hear what they're saying. So you just turn the dial a little bit, and suddenly the voice becomes clear. And that's how I think Shattuckite works in relation to Moonstone. It doesn't replace Moonstone, but it acts as a cool companion to Moonstone that enables you to hone in on what you're being sent through the Moonstone. Moonstone helps you receive the intuitive signal, and Shattuckite helps you clarify the signal. It helps clear away the static, or another way of saying it is Shattuckite enhances the signal. The signal and the noise. Shattuckite is often associated in metaphysical traditions with communication, intuition, inner truth, and the third eye. And I think there's an important idea hidden within that. Maybe our problem isn't always that we're not receiving intuitive information. Maybe we're receiving more than we realize. Difficulty may be in recognizing which part of it is the signal, which part is the one that you need to pay attention to, and which part is the noise. Our own thoughts can become part of the noise. Fear, expectations, memories. Maybe you'll start thinking, "Oh my, I've got to pay that bill," and so that thought takes over, and you lose the intuitive insight that was coming to you. Things we want to happen, things we are afraid will happen. All of these things can become blocks to the signal. All of those things can compete for our attention. So perhaps developing intuition isn't only about learning how to receive, it's about learning how to listen. The copper connection. Here is another fascinating thing about Shattuckite. You look into it and you see all these beautiful blue patterns in there, and you see some greens in there. Well, you know what? Those are copper. Copper is a really beautiful blue color when you look at it. If you've ever gone to a copper mine, like I used to go to the Kennecott copper mine in Utah, and I can remember as a boy I would go there with my grandparents, and they would have all these raw copper stones on the shelves there. It wasn't a metaphysical store, it was a tourist store for the Kennecott copper mine. And I remember looking at those beautiful stones when they're raw and how beautiful and blue they were. We use copper in electrical wiring because it is such an effective conductor of electricity. Now, I'm not saying that because Shattuckite contains copper that scientifically it proves it conducts psychic information or signals. That's not what I'm suggesting. I see it symbolically, but I think it's a fascinating symbol. It could be true, but you have to look in your inner to decide for yourself if that's true or not. Here we have a mineral associated with metaphysically with communication and clarity. And physically, it contains an element we use every day to conduct electricity. and signals copper. I love that connection, actually. For me, it comes down to 3 words: receive, conduct as conducting the connection, and clarify. Listening beneath the noise. I have also noticed something interesting when I meditate with Shattuckite. My thoughts don't necessarily disappear. Instead, they seem to line up. They seem to kind of order themselves. There's not all the fighting for one idea over another as much. That's what the stone does, actually. They're not all competing for my attention. It's almost as though they're saying, listen beneath the noise, listen beneath your expectations, listen beneath your fears, listen beneath all the stories you tell yourself, and then ask yourself, what's left? Maybe what's left is the truth. Think about it. And perhaps that's one of the most interesting lessons Shattuckite has given me. Sometimes we're looking everywhere outside of for answers, but intuition may not always be about discovering something we don't know. Sometimes it may be about becoming quiet enough to recognize something that has been there all along, that we already knew. Well, you've heard that scripture, the truth shall set you free. I think it applies now more than ever with the kind of diversity and all the things we see happening around us. That's why I find the combination of Moonstone and Shattuckite so interesting. Could it be that the reason I was drawn to the stone was so that it would give me an understanding I could share with my audience about how we could hone in to another quality of the Moonstone by using Shattuckite? Moonstone opens the intuitive doorway, and Shattuckite helps make the message clear. Moonstone helps us to find the situation. Shattuckite helps clear the static. And somewhere beneath all that noise, there may be something waiting for us, the truth. Maybe I chose the Shattuckite stone that day in Encinitas for a reason. Or maybe something within me recognized something in the stone before my conscious mind understood it. I don't know. And maybe that's a part of the mystery. But I know sometimes things we're drawn to can teach us something about ourselves. So next time we're looking at crystals and one particular catches your attention, maybe stop for a moment and think about it. Why is this stone catching my attention? Pick it up, look at it, and ask yourself, why is this one calling out to me over these other ones, these other stones? You might be surprised what you discover, because sometimes when we clear the way enough through the static, we can finally hear what's been going and calling all along, the truth. The truth shall set you free, and that's what it means to me in this case. This is Bob Price. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.